Super Mario Sunshine is a game I find myself coming back to every few years. I don't know what it is, but there's something about this tropical vacation twist on the whole 3D Mario thing that fascinates me. The bright sun and gorgeous oceans accompanied by the amazing scores creates one of the most relaxing and inviting environments in a Mario game to date. As long as we don't take into account the lily pad poison river game, the infinitely splitting stingray, the most painful boat ride of your life. Let me just speed that up. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Oh, and the fact that the moment Mario steps foot on the island, he's sent to jail. Hey guys, it's Leech, and for this video, I want to discuss one of the weirdest mainline Mario games ever made.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
Truth be told, I never considered this game to be all that weird until I decided to take a critical look at it, and when you put it all on paper, it's just kind of a mess. First, let's talk about this opening. The idea that Princess Peach and Mario are taking a vacation is kind of strange. I don't mind it though, because it's a very natural way to have our story take place somewhere that isn't the Mushroom Kingdom. While flying, a little commercial comes on showcasing Isle Delfino and its many attractions, all of which you're going to become painfully familiar with, by the way. And during this cutscene, you can clearly see a silhouette of what appears to be Mario jumping around and looking, spooky. Nobody except Peach seems to catch this, and she just sort of speaks to herself like, oh, is that Mario? Instead of being like, hey Mario, that looks like you on TV. You know, this whole thing is weird so far, and we're only like 1 minute into the game, but there isn't enough time to think about that because we're landing. Now this whole tutorial section is just weird. There's icky paint-like goop everywhere, and we get this oddly anime-looking cutscene with Shadow Mario watching ominously in the distance. The cutscenes feel really choppy, like this wipe transition from inside the plane to the outside feels kind of amateur. The way we jump around from scene to scene makes it feel like they never even made it past the storyboarding phase and just animated the individual beats without ever thinking about how to connect them. And then we are introduced to Flood. Okay, so I'm not really upset at the idea that Flood is some AI super soaker. I'm okay with that. It's weird, but not too far out for a Mario title. The weird part is during the introduction. We're given a quick tutorial by Flood on how to use the sprayer and change between nozzles, but it's a video. Who in their right mind thought it would be a good idea to show you how to use the main gimmick of this game through a video? Not through trial and error, not through button prompts on screen, not through some forced tutorial, but an FMV at 480p. As a kid, I guarantee you that I mashed the A button furiously during every second of Flood's dialogue. I wasn't a bright kid, but Nintendo already knew that, so the decision to teach people this way baffles me. It's another egregious example of Nintendo showing rather than telling, and it's honestly just an amateur move. After watching this cutscene, we're given control and it's time to clean this place up. Mario approaches the giant pile of goop on the airstrip and then it suddenly erupts into a giant goopy piranha plant. This guy's pretty novel the first time around. You spray some water on him and he just shrugs it off and continues to spit more goop out, which causes an infinite amount of whatever these things are to spawn. I guess I should probably look up what they're called if I'm making a video about it. Let me just type it in. Oh my god, they're called goobles. Actually, you know what? That checks out. That's exactly what I imagine when I hear the word goobles. Anyway, big guy over here is a little thirsty, so you help him out and spray some water in his mouth. He melts away and the crater he made returns to normal and we get our first shine sprite. Man, seeing those shines float down with the glow and that amazing shine sound is really nostalgic for me. And the little animation that plays every time you get a shine is so fun. I miss little touches like this. Mario 64's bootouts were iconic, but not nearly as fun as these. It's almost perfect. I think one way you can improve the experience is if there were multiple kinds of outro animations. Do you guys remember Jak and Daxter? As a platformer, it too had a central collectible, very similar to stars, or in this case, shines. But in Jak and Daxter, not only are you not booted out of the world after watching the animation, but there are several different animations that could be triggered. Those two small changes alone would completely overhaul that mechanic in Sunshine and make it much better and much less grating on the player. I don't want to get too bogged down in that though. We have an insultingly simple story to get back to. Anyways, we save the day, collect the shine, and then out of nowhere, Barney Fife and Andy Griffith show up to arrest Mario. ACAB includes these guys, by the way. We are then tossed into another poorly executed cutscene where Mario is sentenced to community service? What is happening here? This is a fever dream. Why is it set up like this? Was there no time to render a court and jury? We just stage our characters in the void and call it a day? Why is this so unpolished? This is a mainline Mario game, and not just any mainline Mario game. It is the sequel to Super Mario 64, one of the biggest video games of all time. Is it fair to say they fumbled this? Think about the legacy, the shadow cast by a game like Mario 64. Now 6 years later, after the whole world has been begging for a sequel, you panic and make the sequel to one of the biggest games of all time in only 18 months. Yes, this game was rushed, and you can feel that when playing. That explains these weird, underdeveloped cutscenes, the low level count, and blue coins acting as a stand-in for 24 additional shine sprites, but I'll touch on all that later. I've been pretty harsh so far, and I don't want anyone to get the impression that I hate this game, because I don't. I'm just shocked that once I actually took a moment to think about the game critically, it started to fall apart. Let's switch gears for a moment and talk about what Sunshine got right. I think one of the most notable things about Super Mario Sunshine is its world building. You see, in Mario 64 we had the castle as our hub, and all of the paintings in the castle were the worlds. The worlds were all unique and endlessly fun, but they were disconnected. That's where Sunshine comes in. Every single level in this game is an actual place on Isle Delfino. Bianco Hills, the sleepy little windmill village. Rico Harbor, the bustling port where all of the island's goods are imported. Gelato Beach is, well, a beach. Noki Bay is where guests come to fish and snorkel and rent boats. Pina Park is the island's theme park where guests can take their kids, and after a full day in the sun, guests can stay overnight at the Serena Beach Hotel. Then there's Pianta Village, where I imagine a majority of the locals live, even though there aren't any houses. The final two major locations are Corona Mountain and Delfino Plaza. Corona Mountain is stupid. It's a lava hallway that leads us to the final boss fight, and that's it. There's not really much to say about it. However, Delfino Plaza is a much different story. There's something about this little town that makes me feel so at home. There's vendors on the street selling fruit. People are out on the beach enjoying the sun. Boats are out on the water making the rounds. It feels lived in. It feels like Isle Delfino existed before Mario got here, and it's going to continue to exist when he leaves. If you walk out to the pier and take a look around, you might see a few places you recognize. Yeah, that's Rico Harbor and Pina Park. As a matter of fact, from every other level, you can see another level. It's all here on this island. As a kid, I thought that was so cool, and that little touch does so much legwork for the immersion. Another thing I think really shouldn't be understated is just how fun it is to play as Mario. His moves feel just as fluid as ever, and the variety of flips and spins in his arsenal is staggering. Nintendo really hit the nail on the head with the whole movement thing. What good would it do to make one of the most legendary platformers of all time if Mario controlled like a brick? One of the many secrets to good game design is the feel of the character when you're in control, and this is especially true if you're going to be doing any sort of involved platforming. I've seen some complaints online about the platforming in Super Mario Sunshine, and quite honestly, I don't agree. Mario's controls are great. The spin jump is one of the most versatile moves in the game. Side flips are just as quick and snappy as ever. The dive in this game feels amazing, and it's perfect for breaking falls, or if you need to gain some serious speed, you can dive in water and fly across the stage. It's amazing. One of the major complaints about the platforming and controls in this game is FLUDD. And sure, I agree there are issues with FLUDD, but in my opinion, those issues stem from FLUDD's characterization, not its utility. FLUDD, to me, feels like a natural extension of Mario's moveset. Sure, you could consider it a safety net, and that could possibly affect the platforming in a negative way, but for me, that's not true. It's a jetpack. It's cool as hell. What else can you ask for here? It is a parkour wet dream. Not only that, we have the infamous secret levels in every world which are dedicated to platforming without FLUDD. And these are some of the most challenging and rewarding aspects of Sunshine. Coming back for 8 red coins is a little tedious, but being able to bring FLUDD with you after you've already mastered the platforming in these levels is pretty cool. Earlier, I made a little joke about how simple Sunshine's story is, but to be fair, Mario is not known for its complex and rich narratives. I mean, come on, in Mario 64, the game starts with Peach asking Mario to come hang out, and then bam, you're jumping out of a pipe. It's even more simple than what we see here in Sunshine. That's like 3 sentences. That's it. That's the story. So regardless of whether or not Sunshine's story stuck the landing, this is a step up from its predecessor. The same could be argued about the worlds in Sunshine as well. Some of these worlds are better than others, and having only 9 places to visit versus 64's 15 is a bummer. But I think an argument could be made that Sunshine focused more on quality than quantity. Let me explain. The crystal clear waters of Noki Bay have been polluted, making the water toxic to the local inhabitants. The old fisherman guy here says the issue might be the mole manning a cannon and the cork plugging the waterfall. Yeah, that's probably the problem, buddy. Anyway, we platform our way up the cliffside, dodging goop, and once we make it to the top, we toss Money Mole's bombs back at him, and after 3 hits, he's taken care of. Boom, crisis averted, the people of Noki Bay are saved, let's go swimming. Not so fast. In episode 2, the water is still polluted, and killing the Gooper Blooper, this episode's boss, doesn't seem to fix the issue either. In episode 3, the old man tells us that he thinks he knows the real cause of the pollution, but to fix it, you'll need to go to the ocean floor. But that would be too dangerous, so he's made a space for you to practice and get the hang of underwater controls. In episode 4, we are finally ready to find the source of the pollution. That waterfall that we uncorked in episode 1 now acts as a way to a completely new area of the map. Once we make our way down there, we are greeted by a massive eel in need of some serious dental care. We get him fixed up, collect our shine sprite, boot out of the level, and head back in. The waters are crystal clear. In just 5 episodes, we've uncorked a waterfall, fought off a massive blooper, dove deep beneath the ocean, and cleaned a gigantic creature's teeth. And with all of that, the waters of Noki Bay are finally clean. We've restored this hidden paradise to its former glory. This was a real place with a real problem, and we get to experience the fruits of our labor as we progress through those episodes and fix those problems. Mario 64 did this as well, but to a much lesser extent than Sunshine, again proving that in some ways, this is a step up from its predecessor. To be fair, some levels don't really change all that much, at least not in a meaningful way like Noki Bay. Regardless, the continuity of our actions in-game is a powerful tool that deepens our sense of immersion, and in my opinion, justifies the low level count. One thing that is not justified, however, is the obvious attempt at padding via blue coins. I'm not exactly sure where I stand on this issue anymore, because I have always collected the blue coins, but during this playthrough, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I honestly did not care about blue coins at all. I collected them along the way as usual, but by the end of the game I realized I was still missing 90 blue coins, and I immediately knew I wasn't going back to find them. Had I been missing 9 blue coins, I probably would have searched for them, but 90 blue coins? That's like an entire game's worth of collectibles I'm missing. There are too many blue coins, in my opinion. The total amount available in-game is 240. Why? They already have a history of using 100 coins or 120 stars. Why did they choose 240 blue coins? They could have easily made only 120 blue coins. You trade 5 for a shine and you'd still be able to get 24 shine sprites for them. I think it's pretty clear that not only are the blue coins used to artificially extend the game, but also they were a last-ditch effort to bring the shine count up to 120. They didn't have time to craft 2 additional worlds and maybe a couple of extra shines for Isle Delfino. They instead opted to make a notoriously tedious collectible to round out their shine total, and the game is worse for it. Honestly, it pains me to say this, but Super Mario Sunshine just isn't as good as I thought it was. Before making this video, I had no idea that people didn't enjoy Sunshine at all. And after doing some research and discovering the abnormal development cycle, things started to add up. It's a shame this game was rushed. There's so much more potential behind this concept, but ultimately, I think this is a testament to Nintendo's ability to develop games. Even with the weird storyboard-like cutscenes, the constant boot-outs, and the bloated blue coin count, I have thoroughly enjoyed my adventures on Isle Delfino for 2 decades, and I'll probably play this game a few more times throughout my life. Hell, I might even collect all the blue coins again one day. This is a good game. A little weird, but good. Just not as good as I remember, and I guess that's all I have to say for now. But before I go, I want to take a moment to thank everybody who made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. I'm on the road to 1,000 subs right now, and I'm getting closer every day thanks to all of you. I've only had this channel for a few months, so until now, I've only ever covered Zelda games. Let me know if I should stay in my wheelhouse, or feel free to make suggestions on what to cover next. Again, thank you guys so much. For real. Peace.